you gonna play now?
Bobby, I don't know. But whatsoever I play, it's got to be funky. 1, 2, 3. Funky, funky.
Funky cold.
Funky stuff.
Funky, funky.
Wicked funky. Can't get enough. I tried. Oh, that funky stuff. I say, whoa, 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 yeah.
Funky Politics Education Reform Series is presented by the National Civil Rights Museum, sponsored by Memphis Education Fund and Southwest Tennessee Community College. We'd like to thank our media partner, Chalkbeat Tennessee.
This is Terry Freeman,
Jim Strickland,
Dorsey Hobson.
I'm DeAndre Brown.
Melissa Haushalter,
Funky Politics.
Funky Politics Show.
Funky Politics,
Funky Politics.
Funky Politics.
Y'all better keep listening.
Funky Politics, part of the Katsukian Network.
You're listening to Funky Politics, powered by the Katsukian Network. Myself, Doc Ward, D.C., and we got Dr. Sharon Griffin sitting in with us. Doc, what's up?
She's been promoted.
She's been promoted.
Yes.
She's been promoted. She's visited with us so much that now
Easiest job interview I ever had.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, after you hang around so much, you get promoted.
And I bet she's getting a bigger check.
We make it look easy.
Whatever. You know what, folks? We're visiting this evening with David Silver, the Director of Education for the City of Oakland, in Oakland, California, by the way. Not Oakland, Tennessee, but Oakland, California. Welcome to the program, David. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Doing well, doing well. We're going to take a deep dive into this thing because we know that you all are doing some cutting-edge things out there on the West Coast. And first of all, we'd like to make sure that we give you our condolences from this part of the country on the tragedy that occurred in your city there. And, of course, our prayers are with you all out there, okay?
Yeah, we appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, very much so, very much so. Mayor, tell the mayor, hang in there out there, okay? Hang in there. It's tough. A couple of things. We've been talking about education reform, and a lot of the reform ideas have been rooted not only just in the South, but of course on the West Coast, where you guys have got some great programs going on as well. But we have really, I guess, kind of hit a wall in terms of large urban districts, in terms of educating, trying to move the needle with our young people in these large districts, and some of them small in the inner cities. Can you tell us a little bit about the initiatives and what you all are doing in the fine city of Oakland, California?
Sure. Thank you. What we're trying to do in Oakland is the harsh reality is that out of 100 students that start out in 9th grade in Oakland public schools, only 10 of them actually complete college within 5 years. So that is not equity, that's not justice, and so what we're trying to do is say that's not acceptable and we can do better. So specifically, we're taking best practices from across the nation, and we are starting earlier than any promise program and going later in order to meet our goal of tripling the number of college graduates within the next 10 years. What we're launching is something called Oakland Promise, which we launched last January, and it's an initiative that says it's not just the superintendent's responsibility, but it is our entire community to make sure that every child in Oakland has the expectations, the resources, and the skills to not just graduate from high school or get into college, but actually complete college, which can be a 2-year certificate program or a 4-year degree, to make sure that they can be successful in the college or career of their choice. There are 4 specific elements of the program that we have taken from across the country. One is from Maine and Oklahoma, which is called the Brilliant Baby element, which is the vision that within a 10-year period, every baby born into poverty in Oakland will have a $500 college savings account, and then we're going to support the family members of those babies such that they would get $500 as well to address their near-term poverty needs if they are able to do certain things to get their kids ready for kindergarten and also advance them in terms of financial literacy. Once those children go to kindergarten, it goes from an equity-based program where we're focused on just the kids in poverty to a universal program. And then every single student, 5,000 of them, will get a college saving, will get money for college starting at kindergarten. All 5,000 of those kids, by the time we hit 2020, will have seed funding for college. And that sets a college-going culture at kindergarten for the entire city. The third element, and that was done in San Francisco, and we are replicating that and trying to add in different things with respect to that to make it even stronger. And then the third element is Future Centers, which was done in Denver, which are college and career hubs in the middle and high schools to make sure that kids have access to technology, internships, application support in college. And then finally, college completion support. Traditionally, you hear about Promise programs and they provide scholarships, but we provide not just the scholarship money, but also the completion support, mentoring, peer mentoring, and university partnerships to make sure kids don't just get into college but graduate.
And let me ask you, David, this is an initiative that is born of, or I guess in partnership, not only with, I'm assuming, some philanthropy there in Oakland, and also looks like the Unified District as well as the mayor's office. Is that correct?
Yeah, this was a partnership that is really, what we're trying to do is have a partnership that's going to outlive the mayor. And so specifically, it was the Oakland Unified School District in partnership with the mayor's office that launched this. We also have a partnership. We have every single school board member on Oakland Unified, every single city council member has endorsed this. We have 800 champions within the city that have endorsed, as well as 200 organizations. So we are a partnership of the district, as well as the mayor's office, the city, as well as our local public education fund, as well as the East Bay College Fund, which is our college completion arm within Oakland that has a college completion rate that's 4 times the national average.
You are listening to Funky Politics, powered by the Kazuki Network. We're visiting this evening with David Silver, the Director of Education for the City of Oakland, California.
So, David, I had a quick question about sustainability of the program. Is part of your tax base allocated for the students? And then how do you evaluate, or how are students that qualify, are they ever, given the opportunity to, like, say they're not successful, can they get back on track if for whatever reason the voucher expires or they didn't meet your benchmarks? How do you evaluate students staying in, the 5,000 kids?
Yeah, that's a great point. So in order to be eligible as part of that 5,000 kids, we want to make sure that we're serving all kids within Oakland with support at key transition points in elementary, in middle, in high school, and then throughout college through graduation and into career. Specifically, you do need to be a part of the Oakland Public Schools, which is either the Oakland Unified School District or a public charter school that has been approved by Oakland Unified. In order to be eligible, you have to be for 4 non-consecutive years to be part of it. So if you leave the district and you come back, that's fine, but you do need to graduate from an Oakland public school as part of the eligibility. And then based on if you complete the FAFSA or if you do certain things, you would get that would increase the chances of you being able to get more dollars in order to be able to be a part of it. And in terms of evaluation, we also have we actually have an evaluation partner for the Brilliant Baby component, NORC out of Chicago, as well as Willie Elliott, who does a lot of the asset building evaluation. And then we're also looking for an evaluation partner to make sure that we can achieve our goals and be able to modify our program as well. And then in terms of sustainability, for the initial 4 years, this program was about $35 to $40 million. We've raised over $20 million of that thus far. It's been a partnership where the city has actually put in money towards those initial kindergarten college funds, as well as the district has matched that. The district's also putting money in for the future centers for the college access part. We're having conversations with the county. So we want to make sure that this is a public-private partnership. Okay. And then we have donations that range from the $3 million level down to the $50 level as well.
Thank you.
Do you intend for this program to last, is it going to taper away as certain goals are met or as kids begin to respond better overall in the school system, or do you intend for it to go on in its form, in perpetuity?
Yeah, I think our original goal was we would love to have this to be a part of our long-term vision, is to say that by investing in kids early and throughout their career, that's the best public investment that you can make. And if we prove this model over the next 4 to 6 years, we're hoping that, the public, would say, this is how we want to invest our dollars. That said, we are also, so philanthropy is obviously providing the majority of the money in the beginning, and then hopefully that'll transition more and more towards public funding, although part of public funding is already a part of it. But we're also thinking, while it would be great for perpetuity, we know that we're looking at evolving the model such that we can think about this as a generational model. So, for example, in the latest iteration of what we're looking at in our long-term sustainability plan, we're thinking if we could actually serve, let's say, between 6 to 10 cohorts of kindergarten students, 10 cohorts of babies, but also up to 22 cohorts of seniors, and then you can do the math all the way in between. Basically, you're looking at trying to extend this out through about almost 2050. So that would be a generation, if not a little bit more.
You are listening to Funky Politics, powered by the Kazuki Network. We're visiting this evening with David Silver, the Director of Education for the city of Oakland, California.
So are you thinking, I guess you said, till 2050, which sounds a long way away, but it's not as long when you really think about it, though. Are we really trying to wait and get to a point to where we're reinstilling a sense of, a sense of obligation in getting a good education, so that people are no longer, education is part of the family's goals, as opposed to what we're looking at now, where education is not necessarily emphasized in a lot of family structures? Are we thinking at some point in time with this intensive, then all of a sudden you'll start to see the value of education from a family structure increase to the point to where we're not having to incentivize it with money or anything else?
I think you're right. Yeah, I think that what we're trying to do is build a culture where college graduation is the expectation. And that goes from the school system to the city to the family to the student to the teacher. I think a good example is, when I say we learn from best practices, we took, in one of the cities where they did kindergarten to college, they had, they had money that was seeded, and then there was matched funding that people could be able to put into a college savings account. And we asked them what percentage of the families actually put money into that match, into the savings account to be matched. And they said 15%. Wow. And we said, wow, that's relatively low. Right. And they said, well, but wait, there was one school where it was 90%. And we said, why? And they said, because in that school, there was the parents, there was the teachers, there was the principal, everyone was invested. So the way that we modified the model is that as we're rolling out the kindergarten to college program, for those 5,000 students over the next 4 years, we're actually doing an RFP where people have to apply to be part of the first pilot cohort of 18 schools, and then the next 18 all the way through 70 over the 4-year period. And in order to even be considered, you must have a teacher, a kindergarten teacher, a parent, a community member, and a principal that signs on to own this. So really what we're trying to do is have ownership at the school level, at the community level, and that's why we believe that this will be built to last, to change the culture within Oakland of what expectations are for kids and for families to be able to go to and graduate from college and be successful.
Well, this sounds amazing, and I see a great opportunity here for this to work in any city, but I'm concerned about the family and community engagement piece. I heard you say that when the kids are born, the parents have to commit to the kindergarten to being ready in kindergarten. How do you get parents, unfortunately, that are in our city that in many instances don't even have a high school diploma, to have the skill set to help train kids to be ready for kindergarten? Because I'm concerned that, they may not have that training unless it's deliberate by the community and or a school.
I think it's a great point. So we're doing a lot of, I think, having families be a part of this and invested and supported to make it successful is key to our theory of action. Specifically, for the Brilliant Baby, and again, that's the vision is that all 2,200 babies that are born into poverty in Oakland within a 10-year period would be able to get access to this $500 automatic. And then in addition, it's a $500 that they would also get if they do they have to do coaching sessions. Okay. And those coaching sessions would be training them on how to actually do the finances that are necessary, as well as how to do the academics to get their kids ready for kindergarten. So it's it's actually providing support for that. Mm-hmm. The second element is that we're actually partnered with part of our sustainability strategy is not to create something new, but rather to actually embed it within existing systems and to be able to incentivize families to actually access those systems. Early Head Start and Alameda County Home Visiting are two of those specific systems that we are, you have to be a part of one or the other in order to get that. So it's basically saying, if you're a part of this, the home visiting actually does a lot of the training of what kids and families can be able to do to get their kids ready for elementary school. Same with the Even Start program. So it's incentivizing them to be a part of those programs, and they're the people that are helping to identify those families.
You're listening to Funky Politics, powered by the Kazuki Network. In our studio, well, we're talking to a good man out in California, Oakland, California, David Silver, the Director of Education with the City of Oakland. Dave, just one quick question I've got for you, and that is, what about the buy-in from the church community out in Oakland and Alameda County? Are you all getting a lot of support, or I'm sure you want it, because that's where you're going to get a lot of those parents who are regular church.
Yeah, I mean, so one of the things that we tried to do was, we have a community engagement specialist that is, and we have what's called, we talk about the grass tops and the grassroots. So we have, as part of our advisory board for this, we have the key elected leadership, i.e. the city council president, the school board president, superintendent, mayor, etc. In addition to that, we have key university presidents, the local community college, the local four-year, Janet Napolitano, who's the head of UC. Yeah. We also have local community-based organizations, which includes the NAACP, the Latino Education Network, East Bay Asian Youth Center. We have different organizations that are a part of what we're doing. But in addition to that, we also have what we call the grassroots. And so there are 800 people that have signed up as individuals to be champions, which basically means I support this initiative and I'm going to spread the word about it. Many of those are elected leadership as well as church leaders. We have about 15 to 20 church leaders that have endorsed. We have 25 university partners as well, including 7 historically black colleges, as well as the local universities. And then in addition to that, we have 35 ambassadors, which are parents, teachers, some are, church leaders, some are other teachers or other people, but basically people on the ground to be able to spread the word about what we're doing here and to represent. So it's not the mayor or the superintendent talking about it. It's actually the community members getting feedback about what's working and what's not, as well as sharing the opportunities so our most at-risk families have access to this.
Yes, you are listening to Funky Politics, powered by the Kazuki Network. We're on the phone with David Silver, who is the Director of Education for the City of Oakland and Oakland, California.
Well, I have one final question. I wanted to ask you about staffing. It's hard here in Memphis for us to get qualified people to do this work. I know that school turnaround is really difficult. So just kind of quickly wanted to hear how you are able to garner and secure people who have a skill set to go ahead and do this work.
Yeah, I think it's a great point. I think so what we've tried to do is mobilize networks and also utilize leverage. So specifically, part of the district's commitment is that they assigned an Oakland Unified School District liaison to the Oakland Promise, and their specific job is to make sure that this is integrated in with elementary, middle, and high school. That particular individual, Vin Trin, has been within the district for 20 years, has been an elementary school teacher, middle school assistant principal, and then the principal of the biggest high school in Oakland. So that's one resource that we have. In addition, in terms of building out the Brilliant Baby campaign, we identified someone who was Amanda Feinstein, who is our person that actually orchestrated this and has 15 years of experience in asset building and helped to architect this. In terms of myself, I've been a teacher, assistant principal, and a principal within Oakland, helped start a school for 8 years, as well as was the CEO of College Track, so I have some experience from elementary all the way through college completion. And then we're also mobilizing Teach for America and Teach for America's alumni network, and we have Leaders for Educational Equity that are people that are actually interning with us, if you will, to be able to provide added service for us. And then we have our people on the ground. I mean, the person that I mentioned as the community engagement specialist, she was someone who was my former second grade student from the community and is someone that has great experience in grassroots organizing. So we're trying to mobilize various people to be able to do that, and then we're also trying to use leverage of what are the nonprofits that are already in existence, and how do we utilize those to fit within this umbrella of going forward. And for example, My Brother's Keeper, Oakland Unified School District Strategic Plan 2020, as well as the Oakland Promise, all have similar benchmarks in terms of, pre-K readiness, or kindergarten readiness, third grade literacy, 8th to 9th grade algebra, high school graduation, that is ready for college completion, and career success. So we're also trying to align everything as well.
You are listening to Funky Politics, powered by the Kazuki Network. We are visiting with David Silver, the Director of Education for the City of Oakland, California.
One other piece I would just say, and that I forgot to mention there too, is one of the things that we really wanted to do was to leverage the organization, East Bay College Fund, that has a college completion rate. Normal college completion rate for kids that are even in college from low-income backgrounds is 20%, actually graduate within 5 years, and this particular organization gets 80%. So we're saying, let's take that and let's scale that. So Diane Dodge, who's the East Bay College Fund Executive Director, as well as her board, are on board as a key lead partner as well. So we're really trying to leverage what's happening as opposed to creating new things.
David Silver, we appreciate you being a leader in education reform and trying to get something done. Hey, on the West Coast, maybe it'll bleed over to the East Coast and down in the South, all right? Yeah. We really appreciate you. You are listening to Funky Politics, powered by the Kazuki Network. And this evening, we're visiting with David Silver, the Director of Education for the City of Oakland, California.
One other piece I just wanted to say, if people do want to learn more, we have a website. It's oaklandpromise.org, www.oaklandpromise.org. And the three things that we ask people to consider is, one, just learn about it and see if you go to oaklandpromise.org, you can watch a 5-minute video that outlines from the parents' point of view, teacher's point of view, kids' point of view, in addition to the mayor and superintendent, what this program is and what the vision is. And if you're inspired by that, you can sign up on the website to be a champion, and then you get an email update from the mayor every month of what we're doing. The second element, obviously, we're still looking to close our gap of about, we've raised about $25 million, and we're looking to close our gap of about, and just using other individual donors to be able to launch this program for more and more kids. So there's opportunities there. And then finally, volunteering. Obviously, Memphis is a long way away. And by the way, I'm a big fan of the Memphis Lift as well. I had some interaction over there with some people. And but for people who want to volunteer or get involved, or frankly just learn about it, we are not here to say that what we're doing is the best. What we're here to say is that we want to be a thought partner. We want to be able to be a learning organization where we can take best practices, we can spread best practices, and that together across the nation we can make college completion and college graduation the expectation for all kids, regardless of income and socioeconomic status.
Well, we really appreciate that, because not only is this a national model, we're looking at in the future for education. It's actually really a good example of what a holistic community approach to improving the lives of students can do. And we really appreciate the time that you've given us to let us know what's going on in Oakland and the successes that you all are experiencing.
Great. Well, like I said, thank you, and I appreciate you for the leadership that you all have done, both in Memphis as an education community, as well as with Funky Politics, to share different initiatives that people are doing. And really, this is about a movement. It's not about one person. It's not about a flashy stone. This is about something that we all can believe in, which is educational equity. And if we can make sure all kids can get to and through college, that's going to have ripple effects for generations to come. Kids that have a college degree are the children of kids who have a college degree are 3 times as likely to have a college degree themselves, over $1 million worth of income that they have, and obviously things like safety and housing and workforce and health are all interrelated. So we appreciate the opportunity and believe that we can do this together.
Right. Sometimes you have to input the instinct, and we appreciate it, because this is a revolution, and it may not be televised, but it will be broadcast on Funky Politics. So we thank you so much, Mr. Silver.
Thank
Know your name. I don't want no people to know you're in here. How you feel, fellas? Hey, Jam! Sure getting down. Look at him. We're gonna
This is the story of a great people, of hopes and dreams, of challenge and change. It's an American story. The story and struggle that started many centuries ago lives today in the halls and on the walls of the renovated National Civil Rights Museum. Enter the Supreme Court Halls of Justice, sit with Rosa Parks on the Montgomery bus, hear Mahalia Jackson sing at the March on Washington. Plan now to visit the National Civil Rights Museum at the Lorraine Motel in Memphis, Tennessee. For more information, log on to civilrightsmuseum.org.
In Memphis, there are 116,000 very important young minds. 20,000 of them attend schools in the bottom 5%.
The Memphis Education Fund partners with committed organizations to give these students access to an equitable education.
Their partners work to operate quality schools, recruit, retain, and develop effective teachers and leaders, ensure community voice, and support the needs of the whole child in Shelby County's priority schools.
R&R on Sports with iConversation.
The Executive Director of the NBA Players Association, Ms. Michelle Roberts.
Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
He is currently Managing Director and Chairman of USA Basketball, Mr. Jerry Colangelo, with us here on R&R on Sports.
Thank you guys. Nice to be with you.
The one, the only, Detlef Shrimp.
Hey, Howard and Larry, thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to be on the show.
Ken Griffey Jr., how are you today, sir?
I'm good. How about you guys?
Catch iConversation on R&R on Sports, part of the Katsuki Network.
I'm Tasha Downey, born and raised in South Memphis, 38126. Gangster walking, Chicago stepping, and skating all day, every day. And you are listening to Funky Politics, powered by the Kazukian Network.
Funky Politics Education Reform Series is presented by the National Civil Rights Museum, sponsored by Memphis Education Fund and Southwest Tennessee Community College. We'd like to thank our media partner, Chalkbeat Tennessee.
This is Terry Freeman.
Jim Strickland.
Dorsey Hobson.
I'm DeAndre Brown.
Melissa Haushalter.
Funky Politics. Funky Politics Show.
Funky Politics.
Funky Politics.
Funky Politics. Y'all better keep listening.
Funky Politics, part of the Katsuki Network.
How we